Come on,
Insane.
it's like
What's up,
PS5's a
everybody?
month
We're
away.
we're back. I was experiencing some technical difficulties. I don't know what the heck was going on. All of a sudden, the right side of my whole peripheral vision was gone. It was shot, and now we're back. I seem to have fixed the problem, and no idea what was happening. That was crazy. So anyway, when we were talking about what do you call it? We were talking about the Xbox
The
and PlayStation,
PS5.
their capabilities. Yeah. What's
Yeah,
happening,
so
Shield Maiden?
it's looking good between them. They're going to have at least you'll be able to play. So like, if you're going to be stuck on Xbox One for the next wee while, you don't have to worry about anything. You can still play with all the other Xbox users out there, regardless of the console, and it seems to be the same with PlayStation.
Right. Now, what
So.
about like, cross-platform? Do you think that they're going to do that, or do you think that they're just not even bothering with it?
Well, you've already got a lot of cross-platform games out there. You've got Fortnite, etc. The big one for me is Destiny. We're waiting on that. We're getting cross-gen play this year, but
Hmm.
next year we're hoping that the consoles are going to talk to everybody at that point because they've kind of said, we want that next year. We're focused on the next-gen consoles and cross-gen play at the moment. We want to keep the PlayStation ecosystem together and the Xbox ecosystem together. This is what we're focused on. But next year they're focused on bringing all of it together with Destiny at least. But as far as I'm aware, your Call of Duty Black Ops this year and all that are all going to be cross-play, the same as Modern Warfare and the same way Fortnite's been and whatnot over the last wee while. They'll all pretty much stay the same. You'll play with everybody, whatever console they're on.
No, I hear you. Yeah, Shield Maiden, as Samantha, she's asking, am I going to be playing AC Valhalla? Definitely. I'm definitely playing AC Valhalla. It's already pre-ordered.
Yep.
Right now, we were just talking before we even started the podcast about certain things that were going on with AC Valhalla. That's mostly what we want to talk about. Right now, I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima because they've got the new update and everything. And this is going to be like a big contender. I think that's why they released it like almost a month early,
Yeah.
this update. But like you had some insight, Silent, as far as like the Assassin's Creed Valhalla went. Like you heard a couple of things.
Yeah, I am very intrigued by this game, and you need to remember I was very much on the side with this game. I have had a few conversations with you, especially at the beginning, where I just wasn't sold on the game.
Right.
It looked like Odyssey, and it was essentially Odyssey but in England in my eyes at that point. Now, one of the big things I spoke to you about was the character selection screen, and how you can choose between male Eivor and female Eivor. I
Hmm.
also want to point out, and I said this to you, Eivor is a female's name, and
That you were saying.
this game also has a let the animus choose mode, which
Yeah.
I'm a little bit like, why would you need that if you just want us picking between male and female?
Now, yeah, that kind of intrigues
Yeah.
me, the whole male female thing. Like if they're allowing you to play, or they're saying let the animus choose. Like I was saying before, like a lot of people were really complaining, like they were upset. Oh, the Vikings gay and stuff like that. It kind of led me to believe, like, what if it's not that the Vikings gay? What if you're playing as a female Viking and she's just an Amazon, and in
Yeah.
order to gain, like any kind of status back then, basically she acted like she was like a male or something like that, so that way,
Yeah.
like people will trust her, whatever. And then
Well, I mean,
like
look at
as
the
you
look
go.
at look at the story of Mulan. I mean, Mulan is that story. She
Exactly.
pretended to be male in order to become a great warrior, save her family.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
wild. I kind of like the idea. I kind of like the concept. I
Well,
think
for
I like.
me,
Uh
for me, I feel like the animus does come into play with this because it's not you decide; it's let the animus decide. And as I was saying to you, it's been made very, very clear that Layla's animus is somewhat special.
right.
And as I put it to you, what happens if it's an Odyssey situation where the DNA is degraded but her animus was at the point where you could only pick male or female, so it took the other part of the DNA and distinguished it as essentially the bad guy. Well, what happens in this one, and as I put it to you, what happens if by Layla reliving these memories, she's essentially repairing the DNA as she goes. So you start as female Eivor, or you start as male Eivor, depending who's canon. I don't believe we know who's proper canon yet.
Not yet.
So say you start as male Eivor, as Layla repairs the damage to the degraded DNA over time. What happens if you become, the other Eivor halfway through the game? The DNA has repaired itself to a point, so it's like an as you go. It's not just a case of a story in the world, but you've got to repair the DNA you're using to get the actual outcomes that you need.
Yeah, that actually would be wild. That's actually a really, it's something to contemplate. And honestly, like I can't wait to get there and see like what they're doing with this story, what they're doing with, like whatever. What's happening, Nick?
One of the other things to also think about, as I said this to you as well, is Assassin's Creed 1 essentially takes place after this game. So we have come full circle, plus we've come full circle in what would be the Antiquities trilogy.
Right.
So is this an end, or is this the ends to our beginnings? And a complete reboot of the series?
I don't see that. That would be interesting if they did a complete reboot of the series. But what would they do? Like, how would they reboot the series?
Well,
you'd obviously have to start again.
Where's Assassin's Creed 1 Remake? It's the only one we don't have. It's the only one they've not touched. What happens if the next Assassin's Creed game is Assassin's Creed 1 in the Odyssey and Valhalla engine in a world just as big, but the story entirely fleshed out? I mean, do you remember my theory when I said to you...
Hey, Jill, how you doing?
Could you imagine taking Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations and turning them into one giant open-world game?
That would kind of be wild. That would be a massive undertaking, though.
Well, first off, if they do that, you damn well better have the original voice actor as Ezio.
Yeah,
and
that's a
the
definite
voice actors of others' backs, because you are not going to do a good Ezio without Roger Craig Smith. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's just not. And if that's the route they're going to take, I'm very. I don't know if I want them to do it, but I genuinely do worry that they're running out of time, like time zones, like places to go, stories to tell. They clearly don't know what's going on with present day. I dread to think what's going on in present day in this game.
I hear you. Jill Turner loves your accent.
No, thank you very much.
You know what, Nick? I do think that they did. What is the thing with the raiding parties? Do they do raiding parties in Valhalla?
Yes.
I know there was something.
And you can customize them. You can customize the arse out of them, from what they wear to their weapons, their shields, everything.
And you could also borrow from friends, or could you work with friends to like do it?
It's people you meet, people that come to your settlement who you place trust in. You can make them lieutenants and such like, and then they end up taking you on your little boat.
That's
they go
pretty
with
wild.
you every time you go raiding.
That's pretty wild. I'd love to see like a multiplayer like that though. Like if they did something where like you could basically like bring, like me and you could play it, or like we get like a couple other people to play it. That would be kind of wild.
Unfortunately, I don't think multiplayer is an Assassin's Creed thing anymore. I think they tried it with 3, they tried it with Black Flag, they tried something new with Unity. And to be honest with you, Unity, as far as I'm concerned, is the best version of Assassin's Creed multiplayer you can get. None of this team deathmatch crap. Go out on a mission and actually be assassins with each other.
Right. I'd love to see that though. That would kind of be wild.
But I think they've shown since Unity they're not interested in multiplayer. It was taken out for Syndicate, it was taken out for Origins. We've never seen it since. So I think multiplayer in Assassin's Creed is probably a thing of the past. But then next-gen consoles are coming out, you never know.
That's true. That's true. I was kind of shocked when I got the Ezio trilogy and the Brotherhood and Revelations didn't have the multiplayer.
Yeah, I noticed that with the Ezio collection as well. But I do believe Ubisoft were very straightforward with that and did come out and say months beforehand, look, the Ezio collection is just the single player games, because it's the same with number 3, the remake for free. There's no multiplayer.
Yeah.
And they were upfront about that as well by saying, you know, look, this is the single player experiences, and they're not the only ones that did it. Sony did it with the Uncharted trilogy. Here's the single player games, you're just not getting multiplayer.
Same thing with what do you call it, with BioShock. They took out multiplayer in BioShock when they re-released it.
I've got BioShock. I got the whole collection on PS Plus. I haven't played through it yet.
I actually love that series. When I first got my PS3, I bought the original BioShock, and I bought Assassin's Creed. And honestly, I played BioShock and completed that before I completed Assassin's Creed.
I can see. I don't know. Assassin's Creed for me is one of those things. If it's a good story and it hooks me straight away, I will sit there till full sync is done. You know, it's hard to pull me away from an Assassin's Creed game if I get into it.
Yeah, I think that for me it was like I really wanted to give it my full attention. You know, 2 new games at the same time, and I was just like, okay, let me finish this one and then go with that one.
I've got that problem on the 10th of next month. I've got Valhalla launching at midnight, and then I've got Destiny 2 Beyond Light, I believe, 16 hours later.
So you're going to have quite the dilemma.
Yeah, for me it's like, Hen, you're taking the kids, I need a few days to myself, I'm locking my door, I'm going to become a hermit, I'm going to grab the cans of Guinness, I'm going to do, you know, well, 18 hours of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, quickly go for a shower and wake myself up, and then dive into 12 hours of Destiny.
Nice.
At least that's how my day is going to go on the 10th anyway.
I mean, I could see it. It's going to be pretty wild. I mean, everything that's going to be coming out, like especially, I mean, with the launch of like the next gen systems with the PS5, there's going to be like a lot of things like coming out. I really do wish that Xbox had like a bigger like launch selection. Yeah, like I don't know why they didn't. I mean, even Halo Infinite isn't coming out.
Xbox baffles me. It really does. How do you launch a next-gen console and essentially 100% rely on your backwards compatibility content?
I think they're relying on that, and they're also relying on the Game Pass. Like, you know, like everybody, you know, obviously they're making a big deal about Game Pass. Gotta knock out of this again and see what's happening here.